Tom, would you have a word of prayer for us?
Dear blessed, most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you in the most humble way we know, dear Father, realizing thy strength, dear Father, and our weakness. We ask you to bless everyone here, dear Father. Bless the sick and afflicted. Bless this court, dear Father, that they might look to you, dear Father, before making the decision. These favors, these blessings, we humbly beg in Jesus' name and for our sake, and amen.
Amen. Motion to accept the minutes of our last meeting. Motion. Second. Second. All in favor? Yes. Medical management for the jail. Do you want to step up, sir?
Would you like me to go into this, or do you have specific questions? Or
I hope you're not going to try to go through all them.
That's an idea. No, I don't do that.
So you have books for...
I do have...
Why don't you explain the gist of it?
I will, and why it came about. Let me give you the main things that I need to give you to everyone here. I met with Pete, the jail administrator.
What's your name, sir? I don't mean to...
I'm sorry, Mike Coffey.
Where are you from, sir?
Advanced Correctional Health Care, and I have a card here. I'll give it to you. Been working the last months with Pete, his staff. I met with every judge. So far, I've met with some of the people on the board for the jail. And I'm going to give you these two. And the first thing I needed to do was gather information because I had to know exactly what you guys were doing and how you were doing it. We manage the medical departments within, I think it's 26, 27 county jails and one independent here in the state of Kentucky. We actually service 30,000 inmates in 17 states, but we're predominantly here in Kentucky. One's closest to you, you got Kentucky River, which is kind of a mirror of you guys, just smaller because it's a regional jail. But Leslie County, Clark County, all the way on the other side of the state, Christian County, I was just at Davies yesterday, we've been doing it for a long time. With that said, what we have is a proposal here and how it would affect your county. We broke it out in each one, similar to what we did at the Kentucky River. Yours is on the last page of what it would cost this county. I looked in, working with the financial people, what you're spending now. And what our program will include, we will be bringing in a doctor or nurse practitioner 1 time a week on site to see all the inmates that need to be seen, and they won't leave until that's done. They will be on call 24/7. That's a big difference than what you've got now. So at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, you can actually get a doctor or the nurse practitioner. If they're tied up on another call at another jail, you have 2 backups. And you can get them on the phone, takes the risk and liability off the deputies, yourselves, which we'll talk about this a little bit later, naming you guys all to protect you guys in a court situation. And so they're actually talking to a doctor, okay? The nursing services at the jail we're going to increase. Right now I believe they have 70 hours worth, and now what our proposal, this is part of it, is you'll have a nurse there 16 hours a day, Monday through Friday. They will do all the med passes, unless it's an emergency med during the middle of the night, which is very rare. Saturday and Sunday, they will be there 12 hours a day. They will be in constant contact with the doctor if something comes up. This will cut down your offsites. Very important. Also going back to our doctor, they are correctionally trained, which is extremely important. I've had many jailers that have asked, who's at the top, who's making the decision? And at our top of our company is Dr. Norman Johnson, who is a resident of Kentucky, who has a place on the other side residents on the other side too of the state, we bring our doctors in on a quarterly basis, and all our medical staff, regional nurses, and continuing bringing them up to speed on the NCCHC regulations and everything that's going on in the country today. They go over all the medical issues. One of the things, when I was reviewing yours, as we go through what's included, nursing services, extremely important. Somebody hits another inmate or punches the wall, breaks their hand. We'll bring x-ray to the site so your deputies don't have to go outside. We usually cut down 50% of going outside or more. And that frees people up not to be stuck at a hospital somewhere. Mental health, actually, Dr. Johnson, owner of our company, feels very strong about the mental health system in Kentucky for emergency services. And even though our person will evaluate on, with the nursing staff and treat them, you've got a pretty good system here in Kentucky at this point for emergency services. A number of them are going to putting in 24 hours, larger jails, 40 hours of social services because your clientele is changing because they closed all those state facilities. But for right now, it's acceptable for what you've got, and we will evaluate. Pharmaceuticals, I want to skip down to that. Right now, you pay for your pharmaceuticals, it will be under this program. Okay? We have, I don't want to get real detailed, but there's something called a pool. We do exclude certain medications like HIV, MS, multiple sclerosis, but in those cases, your jailer will get those people bonded out. You don't want to keep those. If in case, though, you have to keep them, it is under the program, and we will assist in getting them at the lowest possible rate. The thing that I found out during the evaluation is, factually put, there's overprescribing going on. You're on about 85%, your inmates on medications. The average is about 20 to 30%, and we know we'll control that. It's wants versus needs, and we don't work off a formulary because doctor feels, first of all, in litigation purposes, you don't want to deny anybody anything, but you want to be able to evaluate properly. Most of your people in your jail have some type of substance abuse, nearly 90%. And they'll be bringing medication in from home, and medication they're going to want that they haven't had for 6 months. We will evaluate them, and that helps cut the cost and keep the cost down. From the very beginning, we train, train, and train. All your officers will be trained on our policies and procedures, which are blended in with the jail. Everybody's a little different. Even though DOC writes them, they're all a little bit different. But we base them on NCCHC standards, which a lot of our executive medical staff speak at and actually train the trainers at the national conference. We'll go over this. We'll check off. These are yours. If you throw us out, got a 30-day out clause, you keep them on your shelf for 2 years. And I think you understand that for any litigation purposes. Doctor says these are yours. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll pass this over. At 3 o'clock in the morning, when you don't have a nurse, what do? Basically, the deputy and looks up possibly heart attack, whatever the symptom would be. They make a copy, they fill this out, but they're calling the doctor in the interim. Because in a litigation situation, the judge is going to ask the deputy, what did you do? They're going to say, follow policies and procedures and protocols. They call the doctor and they say, we're done with you. Now, Dr. Johnson feels he has everything covered in inmates in this book until tomorrow when they can think of something else. And they do. You know, when it comes up, some strange illness or something like that. We'll let you look at those. But training is so vitally important with our company. In 2006, I'm going to pass this around. I think it's in here too. No one has ever successfully sued us and won I don't have the chart right here.
So you have been sued, though?
Oh yeah, all jails get sued, everybody gets sued. Frivolous lawsuits, it's every day. Yeah, you just get it, it's part of the business.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, but it's usually settled, and you know they get through to you guys. But it's having a complete legal team in our department, in our company, to back that up and to back you up. We actually named the county and the jail in part of the liability lawsuit. And as soon as one comes in, you know, yes, it'll go to you, but you just send it up to our people and we'll do the litigation. Dr. Johnson actually had one last May that he didn't settle with. He could have 8 years ago in Indiana, but they won. And why? Because he's a medical doctor and they don't like to settle. Not when they're wrong. So there's a lot of times that, you know, as long as you document properly, and from the very beginning when we come in to train everyone, I want everybody to see this. You will know exactly, we set a business plan, we go over it with the jail administrator, and when you wonder one time what is going on out at that jail, you'll know exactly what is going on in the jail. You will know how many people are diabetics, how many people are pregnant, how many people are going off-site. And Doc and his staff read every single report. And if you notice, you got January, February. For example, you may have an off-site, one off-site. Then the next month, 2, then 1, then 2, then 9. Automatically flags the program. We make phone calls. We find out what happened that month, what's going on. Psychotropics is another one that would be a real good catch here. But our system catches this. So it protects you to see what's going on in your jail. Because some of you like to know what's going on over there. Why are these people so sick?
So off-site visits, are you guys still responsible for those?
Yes, that'll go into the pool. That's mentioned in here. A few years ago, the judges, along with the jailers, came up with a law in Kentucky. Not too many states have this, and you're lucky, fortunate to have it. You have a catastrophic clause in your contracts, and you don't have to pay anything over $1,000. And the second one, you get Medicaid rate. Some states don't have it. It's been able to keep the bills in check. Now, Carter County, not too far from here, a couple of years ago, Judge Wallace, who's no longer the judge there, he had called me and said, Mike, we're over the pool, what's going on? And I had to go into a closed-door session of the Fiscal Court after we did a 3-day absolutely research at the site. Went through those reports, okay? And I sat in a meeting like this with nobody else in it because it was confidential. And we started reviewing things. And it wasn't the jailer, Mr. Boggs, that's there now. And we found out, guys, you got a lot of people on heart stents. You got people on dialysis. Why aren't you getting them bonded out? And at that time, I'll never forget it because the jailer was sitting next to the attorney and he said, because he won't let me get them out. Well, there was a problem, okay? And they started working together, like other jails do. They got them bonded out, and there was no problem after that. Rockcastle County had a similar problem about 5 years ago. Went in there, walked in, hospital board was there, going, oh, this is going to be good. County treasurer, the county attorney, and all the fiscal court. We went around and reviewed. It was a confidential meeting, and we were going through, I didn't know the inmates in the relation to the community. And they had one guy. He had been going up to UK Medical Center. And that was really what ran it all up. But everybody knew him because he'd been scamming everybody for years. Once you identify that, you can control those costs. So, does that answer your question? Yes, it is part of the program, and we pay the bills. Your people in the fiscal court, and that's one of the big things that I've heard wherever I go, is you guys going to pay the bills? Yes, and we're going to check it with Correct Care Solutions, who is the state provider. We're going to make sure the bills are right, even though that's supposed to be their job, and you'd be amazed. We're going to make sure that the catastrophic is filed. We're going to make sure that Obamacare, because you qualify for that. And there's a real important clause, which I'm going to look at you, Judge, and pass this on. When you're going on to the Obamacare thing, or the Medicaid side, we recently had a call from my office yesterday and said, tell everybody in Kentucky, if they say that they're denied, they're not necessarily denied. Just keep working it. So I've got to pass that on to our clients. But yes, we do check that.
So what about psychological evaluations? You guys cover all those, or do those yourself? Or?
Not specifically related to the, if a judge would say, I want a psychological evaluation. No, because that puts us in a different light. We're there to treat, not to evaluate, and to, be part of that situation. It just came up a couple of weeks ago and I had the answer.
You know something wrong with it, we wouldn't be in jail to begin with.
some question, but and
we get a lot of those on our financial statements.
A lot of years ago, I mean, and I started my career working out 100 years ago at a mental health facility. In those days, you used to all bring them in, the sheriffs brought them in to us, we took care of them. But they closed those places all over the country, all over. You guys are the dumping ground. The community doesn't understand that. It's not Bob robbed the 7-Eleven, it's Tim and Fred are picking bugs off the walls. And I could go on a long thing because I met with the governor's office, Rand Paul's office, McConnell's office, and a whole lot of other people, and 9 jailers on the other side, trying to get an established jail that will take them. And I've got one, actually, Carter County is interested, if we can get the funding from the grants. But it's another long story, and I don't want to get into that.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Why are you coming to us? We got a board of what that jail handles all of this, don't we?
I've been asked to come and present to you, but this contract would be with the Big Sandy, but then individually with each of you, like
I understand that, but I'm just saying, this may look like you would have to go over this with the administrator over there and the board members over there. Then they come to present this to us and ask us their opinion.
I have done that. I met with Pete and I met with the judge, and they requested that I come to you. And that's why I'm here tonight. That's all.
So have you done an analysis of the cost of, the savings that we would?
For what you're looking at, you're on track to spend, and I think I reviewed that with you, Judge, the actual dollars by the end of this fiscal year, somewhere in the area of about $70,000 to $80,000 you're on track. Somewhere in that, give or take, all services combined.
That you could save us?
About 20. Okay, we could save the jail a lot of money too. Each county was a little bit different, right? Because you're only based on 24 inmates. That's what you house over there.
Is this contingent upon all the counties taking your offer?
Pretty much so, because they're all part of one jail.
Have you been to any other fiscal courts presenting anything, or are we the first?
First fiscal court, maybe be the only one. All the other judges have said, I'm on board with this. I'll bring it to my fiscal courts. It's been well received.
Do you have a sample contract?
No, I've been waiting for that. As of today, I talked to the judge up at Lawrence County. He says, just send the agreement in, because all of you, the county attorneys, have to review it. And
That's what I'm saying.
make the changes.
I can't understand. I'd like to solve the agreement here tonight. Take it with me to look it over.
I will send that to you. I'll have it sent within a week. We'll put it up because it will be. You'll make some changes. Everybody does.
Now, if you gave all the other judges one, how come you a copy of what he's talking about? How come you didn't bring one for him?
I didn't, because I haven't gotten the okay to do that. Okay, and that's what I'm here for tonight. I've gotten the okay from the judge at Lawrence County. If I get that tonight, that's what I was looking for, to get the copy of the contract. I made the calls to the other 2 judges to say, do you want me to speak to your fiscal court?
You haven't met with Lawrence County's?
Not fiscal court, but the judges.
Fiscal, okay, so
yes.
Well, we can listen to his proposal, but you don't have to act on it.
He was invited to come here.
I was invited to come, that's why.
I didn't invite him.
Well, let's listen. We appreciate you coming to us.
Another piece of this at the very end, which is important, I mentioned the repricing of the claims, and is the training program I mentioned earlier. I'll give you all this. A lot of the jail administrators and sheriffs around the country have said, I don't have money to send out for training anymore. So we developed a DVD series, which DOC really likes this. That's only one. They're DVDs for training for your staff in mental health, excited delirium, detox, transgender inmates. You have a pre-test, after-test, and even get something if the DOC comes in and says, I want to know what you've done for training for your officers, and we've got that. It comes with the program. So it's just something extra that you've got.
When do you contemplate, sir, going to the fiscal court?
At Lawrence County, they said I don't have to, and at the other two, I'm waiting to hear back from them. That's all it is. They may say no. Dr. Harden's on
to
board.
that effect. I just would not make a decision that entails spending $60,000 a year. Let's bring it for you guys and for the county attorney. I don't see how the other judges do it. This judge will not do that. I mean, I don't know how that they can tell Mike to go ahead and pick up the contract and we'll sign it and all that stuff. You know, that don't happen.
We're not going to do it.
So is this what our cost will be
Yes.
for the service?
These are estimates, what he says.
Yeah,
That's
right.
contingent upon
Right.
all four
That's-
counties agreeing to this and all four counties and the regional jail going in contracting with these people.
Right.
Is that not correct?
That's pretty sad. That 49,000 is what we bid on this.
I agree, but that's contingent upon all the other counties going together.
It really is, yeah, it is. Final thing, and then I'll get out of your hair, is something that comes with the program. We don't sell anything. I don't sell anything except the medical program, but we have saved a lot of money for counties in our purchasing program. You will get access to UK pricing is what you're doing. And I'll give you a good example. The county when I was up at Lawrence County today, they're going to save $8 a case on copy paper. Leslie County saving money in plumbing supplies. Kentucky River saved $4,000 on toilet paper at the jail.
May I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
These other counties, you say that you are providing the service for.
Yes.
Did they bid it out? Were you ever part of the bidding process?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, I was, sir. So, yeah, I've all been
And
here.
you all were the lowest bidder?
Not in all the cases, no. No. We just provide more services. Okay, so I'm not going to say
You
that.
give me a list of all of the people.
Did
I
you
thought
get-
They said Pete was going to send me something. I
Yeah.
don't know, that's what my assistant, if he said he would, I'm sure he did.
Absolutely. He said he forwarded that on to you today. So it's a listing of every single county, their phone numbers, jail administrators, and in some cases, fiscal court judges. It was a mixed bag from where we saw. So,
And you all did those, participate in the bidding for a county.
That's correct.
Their services out.
there were some that just took proposals, but a lot of them did bids too.
That's what I thought.
I've been doing this for a long time. That's pretty much everything. The purchasing program is important, I'll just tell you that. We've already talked about food over there, getting the meals down to 80 cents a meal with the programs that we've got. And from equipment to everything else for drug testing kids. Other questions or concerns that y'all have?
So do we want to send the copy of that to teams?
Yes, and card.
No,
It's okay, I'll get your email address. We'll have it emailed to you. No problem. Any other
I
concerns?
think that probably, I guess Kenneth needs to look at the contract with their,
Oh, I'm sure, and, you know,
We come
check
back
with
to
other
it.
counties and everything and compare what we have with, you know, the board, I would suggest the jail board compare what they have with what they're offering now and look around, you know, I don't know. The jail board going to decide to try to bid it out or what, I don't know.
the
You know,
jail
that's-
board.
That's what I was saying.
Probably,
So are you talking about a savings for the rest of this fiscal year, or are you talking about the calendar year?
They're looking at, by the time you start up the hiring, you'd start some possibly in June. It's a tentative date. You would make it a 13-month contract, so what goes on your fiscal next year, it's most of the counties want it on their July. And so, yes, it would start. A little bit of savings right in the first month, but then definitely the savings is
Is there any way that you could give us a cost analysis on what it would be, you know, what we could save for an entire year?
That was pretty much what we did. You compare, that number is based on a year, and then you compare it to your treasurer's report, the treasurer that I met with, and that's where I got those other figures, that what they're on track to spend between about 70 to 80,000, somewhere in that range.
see, that's where we're going to run into a little bit of issue. We will sit down with our finance people, but, you know, if you'll notice on your package you have here, we spent right at $10,000 this year on pharmaceutical and medical. Now, that's not saying there's $100,000 worth of bills up to finance all we ain't paid. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, if we sign in a contract, we're locked in for $49,000. If we look at our medical bills over the last, not looking at bills, but actually what we paid, you know, that's something we're going to have to come to a happy medium on, because, you know, we're basically 3/4 of the way through our budget. We spent about $10,000.
But you have more bills, they just haven't been paid.
If they might be $15. We don't know how much they are.
No, they know where they're at.
Yeah, I know where they're at, they're upstairs.
On the flip side too, you know, you might have a year where it's going to be astronomical.
Yes, sir.
You know, when I talk to Pete, you know, their number is the highest, because they're $141,000. And that would be a savings to the jail itself, about $40,000. They'll lose staff, you know, they'll get rid of the doctor and the nurse and all that stuff. These people will bring those people in. So, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer for them. And then for us, it's a little horse of a different color, and I've had this conversation with him. You know, so yeah, we'll have to get our bills and what we paid to see, and we'll go back and do it now over the last 3 years.
We have to, our county needs to do that for us.
Huh?
Our county needs to do that before we can make any decision. And like you said, it's contingent upon these other counties too. I don't know if the other counties wish to try to bid it out or what. You know, I don't know if you discussed that.
Is this a
with the other
service,
counties.
Candace, that we have to bid out, or is it a service and we don't
You
have?
you don't have to, but you hear him, they bid other places and bid it out.
Mhm.
Professional services, but you know, you may want to talk to the other county judges, see what they're doing. I don't know.
Is there going to be medical personnel on there all the time? I mean,
I think
There-
you said
16 hours.
16 hours.
okay, will that prevent, like the jailer or us, when we transport someone who basically has shot up earlier in the day and they just have a needle mark on them? Right now, the jail forces us to take them to Paul B. Hall for medical clearance.
We
I mean,
will
all
do-
they do at Paul B. Hall is take a alcohol swab, wipe it, put a Band-Aid on it, and clear it.
We will do that evaluation.
Get charged for that.
And if you do that at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're going to be calling the doctor. That's what the procedure is at the other 25 sites that we have in the state that we do now. Some have 24.
And where's this doctor coming from?
In this particular case, we hire local, but in this particular case, we have an individual that would come in from Hazard that has family here, we've been told. But we look here. If you have somebody
Yeah,
that,
I mean, we got doctors here.
That's
We have to go to Hazard.
So how long's your company been in Kentucky?
let's see, what, 10 years?
10 years?
10 years. First one we signed was in Logan County.
And the closest one, you said River?
Well, I don't know what you want to call it. You got Kentucky River, you got Carter, you got Clark. I mean, you got Leslie Jackson. Yeah, I mean,
You can understand why we want to look at everything, and check around all the counties.
totally agree. You know, call them. I mean, we got a good reputation. We wouldn't have 25 counties.
I appreciate you coming.
And we got anything from 50 beds at Union County that the county treasurer made the jailer look and see how much savings they would have by not sending their people off to sit at a jail, sit at a hospital for a couple of hours because they're going to be doing it on site, to 24-hour care at Hopkins in Davies.
So did you say that they would be able to give a medical clearance in that case? Or say if we send somebody over there that is extremely intoxicated, they send them to the hospital to get a medical opinion for clearance. Will your facility, will your personnel be able to give them a medical clearance there at the jail? Because if not, then we're still going to have to send these people to the hospital, and it's costing us double the money.
Yes. To answer your question, they will do the medical evaluation if they're on duty for those 16 hours. If they're not, the deputy in there will call the doctor, and they will relate the symptoms. They can do that. It's very easy to do, and tell them where they're at with it. Person comes in totally intoxicated. This happened at Hopkins County. Okay, totally gone. They didn't accept it. Okay, they just plain didn't, because guys, you got We're not doing this because once they cross your door, they're your responsibility. And if they got a major medical problem, then we can take it under. Let's look and see if we have enough nursing. Can we handle this situation? And we will evaluate that. But to answer your question, now I know we talked about this before. That can help you guys out a lot. Not having rejected or immediately taken you for a, and as you described, basically a pinprick on the arm. You're taken over to the hospital. No, that doesn't work. And that form that you showed me, that basically is a form that's used for DOC, not for the county jails. They kind of implemented that.
So you said you've seen a copy of contracts they used to look at?
Kelly, would the medical portion of our jail bill go away?
Oh, yeah, we'll
The
provide
medical
that to you.
portion of our
Yes.
jail bill monthly, would
And
it
you can check. You can
disappear?
get out of this contract in 30 days.
What, Donna?
Would the medical portion of our jail bill disappear? Because that averages over $1,000 a month. That would be a savings of, you know, roughly $15,000.
Sometimes kill it.
If it's, I don't know what that bill entails, but we're going to
We have a
pay.
housing portion and then we have a medical portion.
Okay, this would be the medical portion. I can't state that. I just know we're going to pay the pharmaceuticals. We're going to pay the medical bills. We're going to monitor that. So those bills will be taken. Laboratory is going to be done there instead of taking them off site.
What about major expenses? Like I'm talking about, if you go in and, like on a hospital, I mean in the jail, and they say, well, you're going to have to have surgery. I mean, like $50,000 or $40,000. What do you do in that case?
In two different things. One, okay, and you can't get a bond out. Sometimes you can't. So you're going to take them over there, you're going to get this. But under the state, as I mentioned earlier, you have a catastrophic clause. And that's catastrophic clause, anything over $1,000, the state's going to pay.
I was getting ready to say, the state picks up a lot of this medical bills because I know, because I have took them down there to the state.
Anything over $1,000. And they have to do the Medicaid rate. Okay? That's the other thing.
So
Other
that's a lot of
states
bills.
don't.
Possibly enough, but we don't even have to pay because the state picks it up.
That's been done.
That's a state law here. It's not that way in Tennessee. I have to go to each hospital and negotiate a rate. It's not fun.
We've been very fortunate, Judge Callahan, I think I'll verify that on working with hospitals. Very fortunate.
I agree. And to look at your respect, there's something that did take place in our company last August. We had our first all-attorney meeting. We brought in attorneys from all over the 17 states. And it was people who defended the counties. And we had our first ever meeting. And the attitude was they were going to tell us, and we ended up having a really working together meeting. And in fact, our director of attorneys spoke at the correctional 3 weeks ago in San Francisco, I believe, addressing correctional litigation. So we do try to stay on top of it.
Did you say Lawrence County's judge said that he would present it?
He would present it to the court, but I wouldn't have to present it. That's what he said. And I'm still waiting to hear back from the other two, even though I'm talking.
She has another question.
Yes?
We get bills from ambulance services if an inmate is transported off-site. Would that be included in your
Yes, it will be. It'll be under the pool, and you should be getting Medicaid rate. If you're not, please go back and check. Because I have found some places. I found some counties. Number one, the administrative people were told by certain individuals not to apply for the catastrophic rate, which we just talked about, and the Medicaid rate. Well, they're $100,000 behind, and they just should have done it. The second thing regarding that, a lot of people didn't know about the ambulance, and a third is, it goes back to catastrophic. I was just at a jail not too long ago that said, well, if it's $1,500, we'll just pay the other $500 out of commissary. And he said, no, you know, why? That's a waste of the county's money, but that was their decision to make that. So I see some strange things out there.
What about dental?
Dental is basic coverage. You're only pulling them anyway at this point.
It's $90.
And it would be covered under that pool area, but you're only, from what I remember, Pete, they're only sending about 3 or 4 out a month, if max, on that regards.
It's not that many. I just wanted to try to cover all the areas to.
No, I think you should.
Financially.
That you need to cover under that. Davies just put in a dental suite. I helped him do that at a low cost, from $40,000 all the way down to $9,000. We got put it in there. They're a big jail too. So.
Mike, on the ambulance rate, I've seen some of those ambulance bills up there, and they're $1,300, $1,500.
They're very high.
And
The bills are very high.
And that's House Bill 463 that covers that on the jail bill.
Yeah, the Medicaid rate, we're getting that in all the counties. They're only a couple $100.
Right, a couple $100.
Yeah, they're like 75. And it's very important under Obamacare. One of our key people that does the billing, okay, and your people will get to know real well. She called me yesterday and said, when you file, don't let them tell you that if you see a denial on John Doe, do not accept that. That is an error in the system right now, and people are just giving up on getting reimbursement from the Obamacare and the Medicaid rate. They say, if you see denial, do not take that as the truth. But to answer your question, yeah, you guys should be getting that on the, and you need to confront that with your whoever your provider is in the ambulance service, and we double check that. That's something we do.
Mr. Cobb, I appreciate you coming. I hope you can save us some.
We have another question.
Yes, sir.
Well, so once you go over the pool amount, like our pool amount would be 12,000.
Yes, sir.
What happens at that point in time?
At that point, then we double check all the bills, but then we'll send you what the balance is. Now, I'm not about to stand here and say, gee, we'll never go over. But we've had some success rate. I was just at Davies yesterday, and they're going to be getting money back. It takes a good 6 months to a year to implement that program, make sure everybody's on board. Anybody that works in that jail that we hire, we pay a very good rate too. We're not going to get poor people, in the sense, poor quality people in it. So, because we won't do that to the jailer, we won't do that to the counties, and everybody gets a background check from the doctor. Everybody's going to know. And to answer your question, if there's a doctor, I want to know about them if they're interested in coming, because we pay the malpractice insurance, we cover them, they can live right there in town. It's a lot easier for us. Nurses hired local. And everybody knows people, everybody in the courtroom tonight knows medical people that might be interested in a position if we take it on board. And I want to know this. Yes, we advertise local, but people to people is, I'm old school, okay? So I like to know people like that.
Mr. Cobb, how long have you been working with Mr. Fitzpatrick, now the judge?
Since November. Yes.
Is that how you arrived at, you had checked all the records, what we paid, all the 4 counties paid? The sum is $380,062.96 per year.
That is correct, and we base that on the average daily population, knowing what we can do it for and what we're doing it for at the other sites. And that is the number that we did come up with.
Did you find out what the regional jail is paying out for the past year?
Yes, sir. I don't have that figure right in front of me.
Can you provide, well,
Pete can, for sure. He knows exactly. In fact, when we came to your office, he had that exact figure. And I'm going, wow, that's really good. I've got the others, as you saw, onto here. I want to make a really good point, though. If your average daily population, which is 24 right now, goes down, okay, maybe you aren't sending too many over there, okay, on a 3-month basis.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No. The state did that a couple of years, 2 years ago. Remember when they released those people? And it worked for a little while. But if it would go down, I want you to know that your fee will also go down.
It goes up.
And if it goes over, then it's calculated on the 62 and non-county 22 for the supplies and that. But
so is the pool money used for things that aren't covered, or what? I'm not following exactly.
The pool money would be used for the off-sites, what you just talked about, and for major pharmaceutical items that might come up. But I really don't run into it. I run that in another state, but not so much here. If there's money at the end of the year, you get it back. But I ask you, where do you want to go? I've had people that put it towards electronic medical records. I've had people that bought equipment. It's your money. You do what you want.
Do you know what our counties paid out for that, money last year all the counties did for that pharmaceuticals?
Yeah, it was like 110,000, we were about $60,000, $70,000 higher than we should.
Okay, how about Martin County? Do you know their
I didn't have that broken out, that was a total. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
things just
that's
popped in
fine.
my head. But this is things that we deal with every day. And one of the things is that we get a pharmaceutical bill in. Now, I don't know how these inmates do this, but we don't pay anything on a pharmaceutical list or a hospital, ambulance, anything unless we get that jail bill and we see that they're on that list for sure. We do their entry date and their exit date. Sometimes we even call to get their release time because they could go to the hospital right after they're released. We'll get billed for it. That happens. I don't know how, but it does. And the pharmacy is the same way. They might get released on the 19th, but they've gone back to that pharmacy and got pills on the 21st, 22nd, and then we get billed for it. We don't pay for it because they're not on the jail bill for those days, so we do not pay for it. But I don't know how they're getting the pills.
Now, how that would work, I'm sorry, you wouldn't have to worry about that anymore because we're going to pay that bill with IHS Pharmacy.
Would you be checking
Yes.
for yourself to
Yes.
see?
We check and we see it all the time. Hospitals will bill the counties and they think you all have money. And I don't care where you're at, now Kentucky, Indiana, where I don't care where it's at. Happens and everyone says, just bill them, okay? We catch it because that's our job, to catch that bill. And to see if it's correct. Have you got Medicaid rate? Oh gee, even Correct Care Solutions doesn't catch them all. We catch that. So I used to carry a document that had Carter County where we actually went in and showed all the savings in a year's time of errors in bills. Even though Correct Care had the contract up there in Frankfurt, we still caught the mistakes. We're going to pay the IHS bill. It'll all come into one. We'll still use the roll packs that IHS uses, which is important for your deputies and that because they'll be passing pills. But yeah, we'll take care of that in IHS. I'm sure we'd be very happy to. They don't have to build 5 entities.
This comes up too, which I guess if all 5 counties did it, it wouldn't be a problem, but we get billed sometimes for inmates. They'll be listed as Martin County, but then they'll be in the Gotham County inmate. But there again, we just have to keep looking at our jail bill to compare to make sure that that person's on there.
That's correct. Well, yeah, and our people are going to double check that
Right.
too. We got to work with Pam over there. That's her name, I believe. Pam over there to make sure that John Doe was in there for this
Right.
period.
For the correct county.
That is correct. And I did not ask. I'd have to look at the statistics. Maybe you know this. Do you give medicine when they leave? Do they give them over there?
I don't know.
2 or 3 days, and we don't recommend it.
Do you know? Do they give meds when they exit the jail?
Okay, maybe 2-day supply or something because they'd only give them that. I've had people that give them their entire medicine, and that's crazy. Other questions?
The unused drugs, do they just dispose of those?
Yes, with IHS Pharmacy, and we use multiple pharmacies, but IHS really suits your jail real well with the packets, with the safety for the deputies. That's where we look at it. And it's made up by a pharmacist. If they have extra, because they do a 7 or a 14-day and 28-day, they will dispose it. Some of the companies accept it back. That's part of the bill, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And there's a legal issue between some of the pharmacies that say you can accept it back and repackage it, and other ones say they can't. We just make sure it's taken care of. We have a flat discount from IHS. Now, I'll give you a good example, and everybody in this courtroom. Anybody on insulin? Okay, insulin? Okay, then you know that, I don't know what you're using, the Novolog, Novolin?
Yes.
Or Humulin?
Yeah.
Okay. We negotiated to help our accounts downwards, and we had to go directly with Lilly on this, not through the GPO and the purchasing program. I'm getting a lot of weeds. Bottom line is, our pricing is $15, and it's usually at $80. And nobody else has that, but that had to be negotiated as we negotiate with inhalers and things of that too. We don't go, the pricing is direct, but it's worked through a distributor. And you can appreciate how much savings that is for you guys. And if you're paying the bills, you're seeing even from IHS where you're getting your insulin from, you're spending that $80 for that insulin when it comes So you won't have to do that anymore.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. You got my cards afterwards. I don't care. Call me 24/7. I don't care. Believe it or not, everybody does take call and take those calls. You may have some. We'll get you the contract. Thank you.
Have a safe trip home, sir.
I just want to see someplace where I can see the game. And I'm sorry, I do have to comment, okay? I mean, we're all in Kentucky. You could have wore a red and white one, you know, just to kind of give
No.
just a thought.
We won't be coaching no insurance.
They are playing tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Sue, you want to come up?
Hey, Mike, are these yours or are you leaving those?
Yes, thank you. I would have noticed that. I probably got it over to Callaway County.
Thank you.
Of Sheriff Creek.
Did he die?
Ending of his tax year. Okay? So, there's a franchise, and then there's the rate, you know, the new taxes. These amounts it shows that's due, that money is in the bank. Okay? When the report
Checks in the
ran
mail.
through, huh?
Checks in the mail.
No, it's in the bank.
No, it's in the bank. And she can pay them now, or she can wait till the auditor comes to pay those amounts. But they do have that money in the bank.
So that would be all zero then too.
So it's not delinquent, nothing's out of order?
No, no,
No parentheses.
no, it's just, you just have to have a settlement and then the auditors can audit and
Done and gone?
that's all.
Motion. No
Motion.
settlement.
Motion.
All in favor? Second. All in favor?
Good seeing you.
We need to include her bill in the financials as well. Normally we
Yeah, I'm sure it's in there.
It's in there.
Normally we have to include.
2014 final settlement for the clerk. I guess you're done too, former clerk.
I'm gonna make a motion, you have to show up once every 2 months, just so we can keep in contact.
These checks are for the final settlement for 2013, what was left in the account, and it's for $4,871.44. And the final settlement for 2014 is for $7,200. And I would like to say that I want to brag on somebody tonight because in all my years of being a clerk, I've had some bookkeepers, but Judy Clark is the best bookkeeper I ever had.
Well, thank you. We sure hate to see you go. You said you come back every 2 months.
Yeah. Love you guys.
It's your time and come anytime you want.
Mr. Tom, you was about to sleep a while ago, but step up.
I never go to sleep. I'm always
So
ready.
pretty.
Good evening, Fiscal Court attendees. This is our presentation that we try to make every year about what we've done and going to do. This year we were fortunate to host the Area 8. There's 17 counties in our area in the Kentucky Soil Conservation, and there's 17 counties. We were fortunate enough to get to come, as Judge said the other day, it's every 17 years we get it, the locusts come in too. So we hosted the Area 8 meeting this year, and was privileged Judge come down and welcome everybody, and we got a lot of positive comments from his presentation. He had to go on to Frankfurt, couldn't stay with us. They consist of supervisors from the counties, 17 counties, district employees, Division of Soil Conservation out of Frankfurt, and the Natural Resource Conservation Services and Soil and Water, NRCS, and Soil and Water Commission were there and did presentations. And we got a lot of good positive comments about Martin County and about the things, and several people said they were going to come back on their vacation and so on and so forth. And we're going to take them on the trail, and they didn't have time to do that today, or the other day. Environmental grant, we've been privileged to 3 different times to request a grant from the Soil Conservation, Kentucky Soil Conservation, and we've gotten 2 of those grants, and it was $7,500. One, we spent most of it on the trail, the Kingfisher Trail. We have one now that we have the money in our account that we just got, and it's on cleaning up the waterways and recycling. We're working with Mike and the judge to come up with areas where we can assist you in recycling with that $7,500. We also host the art and writing contest with the help of Sonny and Farm Bureau. We provide a breakfast for the principals in order to, we do that on our own in order to get, we do that with our own money, in order to get principals interested. And since we've been doing that the last 3 or 4 years, they've gained several pounds. But other than that, we have gotten 100% from the elementary schools and the middle school this year. So last year, so we're real pleased with that. The high school, we had a regional winner from the high school last year to go down to Frankfurt and was presented. So we're real pleased with that, and the school's working with us on that. That's something that probably most of you all have done when you were in school. We have a banquet for the, you'll be getting an invitation. We present trophies, t-shirts, we have food, of course, and we have cash awards from our for teachers that winning the that has 100%, school that has 100%. We give them cash money, and also the individual county winners and so on get money from the state Farm Bureau and this year the local Farm Bureau. And also reward the schools with 100% participation with a check, $100 check. We supply $500 a year from the Kingfisher Trail to assist on working on that. We donate to the public library a summer reading program, annual donations to retired teachers for the memorial, donate project graduation, donation to 4-H club, and this year we're sent some money to help send a student from Martin County to Camp Webb. We don't know who it is, but we just gave them the money so they could assist in that. Also promote Soil Stewardship Week by distributing placemats and bookmarkers to get the kids involved at the local libraries and the schools, to get them involved in agriculture. We also work with the seeding program, provide various types of tree seedings to the public. Winter wheat and winter rye cover we provide, cover crops for a garden. Wildlife seed program, we provide winter food for the wildlife, the ones that come in and get it. Master Conservation Award, every year we try to find a conservationist, someone that's done something in the community that has aids conservation, and we try to award them with an award and recognized by the State Soil Conservation District. The Conservation District Supervisor donated unlimited hours in maintaining Kingfisher Trail and the walking trail and the trail to provide adults and children alike with an excellent place to exercise. People from other counties come in, people from West Virginia come over, and it's really, we feel it's a big plus to our community, the trail. Conservation, we have 3 miles of walking trail there if you have it, the 2 Kingfisher Trail and the God's Promise Trail together. We have about 3 miles of trail, and some of it's quite hard to do. Those 180 steps are quite tough to do, but the weather and the way things are, the beauty up there is worth breathing heavy going up the steps, 180 steps. You ought to build some of those steps. See, it's even harder to walk them. Providing conservation education to adults and children in our community. We have Earth Day. We do programs at the schools on Earth Day, planting trees and seeds, and I'm really trying to get agriculture into the kids. We're not a great big agriculture community, as you know. We have some little gardens around, We were trying to get the kids, and I went to Warfield, and we were planting seeds over there, and it amazed me how those children really get involved in that. There's one little girl, and she was just absolutely, I don't know who she was, but she's absolutely beautiful little girl. She's about a third grader. Man, she got in that dirt, and she dug and dug and dug, and it was just, it's rewarding to see that and maybe build an interest. Discuss with students about what Earth Day means and the importance of learning how to conserve our natural resources. Participate in back-to-school programs and career days at most of the schools, not all. Participating in October Festival out here, we'll get out information and things that we're doing in the county. The Conservation District maintains a good working relationship with the NRCS, which is Natural Resource Conservation District. Because we're here, they help us, they help you when you have flood disasters and things like that. We're building bridges, and we've used that a lot, unfortunately, lately. It's the goal of the Conservation District to maintain these working relationships with the other agencies that can help us. Because we exist, they help us. They help the county. Access to natural resource conservation programs is greatly enhanced by having a local conservation office to serve as the first point of contact for landowners. If somebody has a disaster, they usually come to your agency, so they can come and contact us, and we'll get them hooked up with NRCS, which has done a lot of things for us lately. Provide state cost share information for landowners. There's a program that you can come in and get, if you're doing a program, I think Jim has worked with that, where you can get help and upgrade your property and so on for certain areas and certain things. And we can hook you up with NRCS to do that. And cost share for landowners. We are a contact agency for landowners who want to improve their timber stands and wildlife habitat, improve, restore wetlands. We have done some of those. Greg O'Grayson, we worked with through NRCS to get some work there for him. We are contact agents for watershed restoration and care and removing trees and things. We can get hooked up with NRCS for that. We are also contact agents for major storms and things. We just really appreciate getting to work with our county, and we do a lot in education. I guess there's so many educators there, and we do appreciate getting work with the board. Judge Callahan has helped us tremendously, and again, we appreciate him coming down and talking to our counties. We had a positive comments. We appreciate getting work with some of the Fiscal Court people who've been to our meetings, and we invite you to come to our meetings. We start at 11 o'clock on the second. This time we start at 11 o'clock. Normally it's 1 o'clock, but this time we're going to start one on the second Thursday. This time at 11 o'clock, and I just forget why we're starting at 11. Somebody had a conflict, and so normally it's at second Thursday at 1 o'clock. So come and be with us, and any questions or comments. Yeah. Anytime you have anything, we'll try to assist you and help. Yes.
Isn't there a tree thing coming this spring? Tree giveaway, like 5,000 trees, is that?
Yeah, we're participating in that right now. Thank you for mentioning that. We have our usual trees that we get, 2,000 or 3,000 that we get in. Because of the flood and because of the disasters that we had, the state's buying some additional, I think we're going to get approximately 5,000 trees that's coming in through us that we've been working with them, Penny's been talking to somebody, Judge, maybe you or somebody, and we're going to work through that to assist. So there will be an additional 5,000 trees because of the disasters that we've had in this area.
That's addition to the 2,000 or 3,000 that we're doing.
We get about 3,000. That's addition to that. That's a plus because of the disaster. Anytime we can be of any service, anything we can do for you, we're ready.
I'd love to know how the pawpaw trees are doing.
The pawpaw trees, a blight or something had hit them. And the natural pawpaw trees are coming out. And our pawpaw trees that we have given out, percentage of them are living, to my knowledge.
Mine got cut down by my grass.
Mine did too. My son-in-law cut mine. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have copies of this if you want a copy.
All right. You don't need to vote about the budget or anything. You just present that to us.
Talk to me?
Yeah. Y'all budget.
Yeah, our budget, we've sent the budget in. You have the budget in the, we're proposing a budget from you of $30,000. And we have that budget. You should have that somewhere. And we'd like to keep that as well in order to keep these services up.
You sent that in.
Yeah, you all have copies.
Yeah, you got that.
All
You
right,
take care of
thanks.
that.
I did forget the most important thing of this meeting today is, this is our first regular meeting since we have a new magistrate, newly appointed by the governor. The guy that talked so much that we couldn't get a word in edgewise, Josh Muncy. He's sitting right in the middle. You want to go ahead and read the county road. Let me tell you what this is. This is a road resolution that we couldn't hunt up all of all the paperwork's been done. It's been
Petitions
through
been
court.
filed, they've been out, all of these
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been approved.
I mean,
looked
one
at.
of them was on 7.
That's what I'm saying, but Joe and them went out, looked at
Right.
it, it's approved. and it
Petitions are filled out, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to do it, try to satisfy the state on the county road. If you want to read it.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, Martin County Fiscal Court Resolution. Whereas Martin County Fiscal Court is responsible for the acquisition and maintenance of county roads designated as such in Martin County, Kentucky, and whereas a list of which is attached hereto as Appendix A, are hereby designated and determined and adopted by the Martin County Fiscal Court as county roads as defined in KRS 178010 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes, and shall until further action of the Martin County Fiscal Court or the operation of law remain as a county road for the purposes as set out in Chapter 178 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes. Franks Road, Pack Lane, Hall Drive, Alice Blackburn Lane, Mandy's Meadows, and Maynard Lane.
Motion?
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Yes.
I need a copy of that in the morning.
Okay.
With your stamp thing on. Trash update. Guys, I'm going to say this one more time. We've done a lot of research. Me and Mike, he left the building. We've done a lot of research, and we have a garbage truck down right now. I signed the invoice the other day. It was $44,000 to fix a brand new truck, basically, but the warranty's 5 months out. So, guys, I'm gonna say this one more time, that we cannot continue the path we're on with this garbage. We're gonna run this county so far in the ground, it ain't even gonna be funny. So, I'm not saying completely. There's some of the things that we can do. You know, just like the pickup, it costs us $500,000 to get the equipment to do the pickup with. We don't have $500,000, we have to borrow that. Huh?
I said not including the employees, we would have to.
Well, there's so many more employees, and I'll say this for the last time for me is I think franchise and get out of the garbage business is by far better for us and better for our residents.
Judge, I don't care to go on with franchising and land as long as we keep all 3 transfer stations intact. That's what my people's wanting, and I have no problem with franchising and that. But if I can get this court, just say that they keep it, when it comes up to bid it out, that we'll keep the 3 transfer stations in, I'm all for franchising and that.
Okay, with that said, we will have to fix up the franchise. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We'd have to repeal the existing ordinance
Well,
and then do one with the franchise.
okay, so we'll fix up a franchise agreement, put in it whatever we want. You know, if we want people to work County hard, put that in there. If we want to keep the transfer stations open, people to go, we put all that in the agreement, whatever we want. And then
You need to repeal your old ordinance. Then we need to start again, a new ordinance. You tell us what you want. This time you want an ordinance. County's not gonna pick it up, but I guess you want to franchise it out. Is that what you want us to do? You could put in that ordinance, you know, we'd have to do a reading, first reading. You have to repeal the old one first, then start over. We'd do a new reading. You tell us what you want us to put in the ordinance, I will do it.
I make a motion we repeal the last ordinance.
well, let me say something. If I thought for a second, you know, I've been here 18 years now. If I thought for a second that we could do it and not run, you know, we're suffering right now. these guys will tell you how much we're suffering. I went to the ball field yesterday, and it was nothing but a garbage dump. We had nobody pick it up. I had to send the road department over the floor to pick it up. Victor will tell you, his part, we're suffering because we've laid everybody off, and now since we've laid everybody off, we are doing zero spending. And then get a garbage truck with the motor blown up in it and cost us $44,000. I mean, I just don't see no other way, guys.
You got a motion on the table right now to repeal the old ordinance and have direct me to come up with one with franchise.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor? Gary?
What do you mean, repeal the ordinance?
We start over and we do one where instead of the county will pick it up, we will franchise it out.
You're talking about that's the people that want to pick up, right?
We can put that in the ordinance that
Yeah,
we
you
feel.
can put anything.
Whatever you all direct me to do.
We can still put in a
If
50.
you're gonna have transfer stations open, if somebody didn't want their garbage picked up, they just take it down there and dump it off.
Yeah, that would be.
We can put it in there just what it was before,
We
15
can
and
put it in
18.
there that way.
We can put it in there 15 and 18.
Why would you put the price on it? Let them bid it out
No,
first.
you won't put a price on it.
We're gonna put it, we ain't gonna go no higher than that, King, 15 and 18. No higher than that. You don't want to make me say it's gonna cost you $30.
You don't have to, let me interject.
If you put, if you don't put something on there, they come in and say, well, we want $30. If we got a cap on
Don't
it,
accept the bid.
You don't have to accept it.
and then we're gonna be right back where we were at 6 months ago.
You've been here for a year.
I don't care, you tell me how you want
Well,
it.
you got companies that are
We
doing it
got a
all around
motion.
this.
I make a
area.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Franchise that.
No, no, no.
No, let's repeal it, let's repeal.
Then you all have to tell us what you want in the
Right.
ordinance.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Well, I don't understand exactly what all you want.
You're doing a way, what's the motion on the table is to repeal the old ordinance that was passed where the county would pick up the garbage, or people could do it, whatever the first ordinance says.
Now, when we send this one to our business,
Now we're going back out.
going out and live there.
Okay.
You know what?
Well,
I hope, pray.
That's
if
just
you
the vote down.
okay, let me say what I'm gonna say here. I sit here and I made the motion on everything we brought up here. And then every time they're gonna repeal it, do it this way, do it that way. When are we gonna start, jerking the people around and get something done?
That's exactly.
Should have done what Victor did,
I mean-
wanted to do a year ago.
Check your records, I made the motion first
You have,
on every one of them.
motion, how you vote, Gary? Yes or no?
Well, you done got enough to
Yeah.
pass it.
No,
I vote no.
3-2. To repeal it. He's voting no.
He's voting no.
Well,
He did say.
Are you voting
I didn't
no?
say I voted no. I just want to know what,
Hey, either no.
So, do you understand? This is only to repeal
well,
it.
I want to ask another question. Are we going to repeal it and then when it comes time to vote on it, 2 or 3 going to sit down and vote no? I mean, what's the use of,
That's very true, Gary. If we vote to franchise it, and we come up, and we say we have 3 people.
we got to stop sometime and get something done.
If we have 3 people to vote, if we have 3 people bid on it, if we get hung up on the price or who it is, you know, it'll be put in there, the best bid for Martin County.
Yes, you can put in a request to put a performance bond up. You can make sure they have adequate equipment to do it, adequate insurance.
You know,
like workman's
they got
comp.
into this
There's a lot of things.
Back 12, 13, 14 years ago, and they voted for mandatory garbage pickup. And when it got to the franchise, Candace can tell you this, when it got to open the bid to the franchise, they just tabled it.
Saying you shouldn't be.
Just put it right to the bull garbage collectors. We've got
But-
people that's in that business.
You know, this is just to rescind the vote if you got the votes.
Making harm.
Rescind the old ordinance that was to go in effect in April. And we start from scratch, people. I want you to know again. I don't care to do that.
Well,
Tell us what
I
you want
voted
to
for
do.
the old ordinance. I was trying to help the county. I was trying to keep a local job. I felt like I done, but if it fails, I vote no on it, but if it fails, I'll have to live with what we do.
Yes, we are.
Well, do something, vote yes or no, or do something.
I've done voted, it passed anyway, so.
If you're gonna keep the dumpsters open, and people in my district, they just want to
That's
take
what
the
they want.
garbage out.
Well, I make
I've heard a lot of that, Gary, I really have.
Well, I've got a motion on the
Got a
table.
motion second, all in favor, 4-1.
You're yes.
Yes.
Motion franchise.
I make that motion. If we keep the, make sure we gotta keep 3 transfer stations in there, that's all I've been fighting for all the time.
We gotta get an ordinance into play, and the court's gotta tell us
Well,
what they
he's
want
making a
to
motion to
do.
give you permission to do that. Is that right?
Yeah, you're giving me permission, but what do you want in it? If you recall, this makes about.
I just told you what I wanted in.
Ordinances that I've done.
I just told you what I wanted in.
I think we ought to meet together
I've worked on
and
it,
do it to make sure this time, whatever we're gonna do right. You worked with, you've been up, how long have we been here?
I've been there a number of hours you have.
Well, I tell you what we do.
We need
Let's
to
have
start off quick.
a workshop,
That's
Monday,
exactly.
and I'll call a special meeting for Wednesday.
You know, we'll try to get something up and help the people.
Got a motion to franchise, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Contingent upon us getting an ordinance and having the first reading and second reading and passing.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Yes.
There. Park discussion. Guys, I'm gonna look at, I think I've got a little money over the ADF funds over to the ad. I think probably I'm gonna look at getting a couple of John Deere tractors, harness a seasonal person, and hire a couple of part-time people to go with him to take care of the parks. John Herman's really gonna help us on, they cleaned up all around the courthouse today with community service workers. But, you know, we have a lot of parks. And I think the cost analysis is going to be close to the same as what we're paying. But I think we get, you know, more bang for a buck if we got the people working for us. So
Yeah, and once we get the lawnmowers into the ball, with that cost is gone.
Right.
So, yeah, I think.
So that's where we're headed, and probably by the next court meeting.
So we're not gonna contract it out like the past, just, you're gonna
We're
have
gonna look
somebody
at it,
actually
and
do
I'm
it.
gonna come back to the next fiscal court meeting and say, here's what our cost is.
Well, I talked to John a little bit, and he talked like that he'd have enough of the little jail workers to take care of it. I mean, he said he'd have volunteer deputies stay with him. I mean, if we could go that route, while we're so hard up, it might be a good thing to look at.
That's right. Hey, John, I want you to know we appreciate all the work they've done today.
And John, our people appreciate you coming up in my district next week on the 1714 picking that garbage up out of this line. They're looking forward to seeing
Route
you.
292 is in Martin County.
Hey, John, and I
You can't
appreciate
even get the road patched
They're
apart.
getting that week after next.
Hey, John, I appreciate you pulling John Harmon on, make sure he's walking the straight and narrow over there.
You ain't wanting him on community service, are you?
Motion to pay the bill.
Motion.
Second. Oh, I wasn't looking. Motion second, all in favor?
Yes.
Motion for the, government general expenses, motion. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
And appropriation transfer,
Motion.
second, all in favor?
Yes.
Any no cash? No cash, that's our motto on it.
What time did you say, Monday, you want to have that?
Well, we got two school teachers on the board now.
Anytime, I don't care, I'll meet there.
What's as soon as you fellas can get
Yeah,
there?
we'll meet anytime.
3:30, 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
So you're gonna make us all work overtime?
Yep.
Okay. 4
So you
o'clock
can catch
Monday.
up with me.
4 o'clock Monday. We're about here, upstairs.
I will meet over at, in
Upstairs.
Christie's office.
Before you adjourn, Kelly, that money Carol Sue, did we know that was coming today? We did,
Actually, we budgeted for,
but we,
how much did we budget for excess fees? Linda, how much did we budget for excess fees? Wasn't it 20,000?
I don't have the budget with me, I thought it was 10.
Okay. 10,000?
I have to go back and check.
Okay.
well, anyhow, before we adjourn, the sheriff, he has no way of transporting prisoners unless he's gotta use one of his cars and
Yeah,
they
we're
can come in
gonna-
there. So we need to try to help him get a vehicles there.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get, the regional jail to price that thing they got over there
Okay.
and buy that transport. They're not using it a lot, actually, we're using it.
They let us, don't they, every time Paul says he goes
Oh,
over
yeah.
and Pete's got enough to let them use it,
Yeah.
transport them back here.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get that bought.
Yeah, we need to get that dog, because they're having trouble at night when they transport these fish.
Right, what do you need? Did you need some of that? So we're gonna stay here all night?
No, you
Motion to adjourn?
Tell me you got two children that
All in favor?